Right, we're back one more time. I know you thought it was over, but nothing is over, at least until this one's done. I had to go back through the list and find those that I missed because the picture probably didn't pick up. I knew I'd have some after I noticed a couple were missing earlier. And then I got to the end of the last one. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's a couple I'm sure I didn't talk about. So these are the leftovers. This should be it. Hopefully, I didn't miss any, but if I did, apologies. So, all right, the first ones we've got here that we'll place one, we've got Clarion, the Witch Boy. Clarion is in the Justice League, the Young Justice show that was based off the Justice League. So they're kind of kid versions of the adults. So Clarion is a pretty cool magic villain. He's like super powerful, has a cat. He's very kind of teenager-ish acting in terms of like being petulant at times, but being kind of angry and calm just randomly. But Clarion was pretty cool. I enjoyed him in the show. I'd probably have Clarion the Witch Boy. Let's see, maybe not above some of these, but okay, Tala is a good comp. I actually like Tala a little bit more, so I'll have Clarion right in there. All right. We have Simon, also from Young Justice. I didn't like Simon as much. He's kind of a fun enough character. Probably in the cool enough section. And maybe around like Deadshot right here. All right. Then we have Sportsmaster. Sportsmaster, also Young Justice. Got one more of those after this. Sportsmaster was cool enough as well. He just did like sports gimmicks for his weapons, but he's actually a more serious character with like their family ties. They had some uh, heroes and villains who were in the same family, and somewhat interesting dynamic with that. So I maybe have him above, let's just say Shocker, right in there in the cool enough section. All right, and I moved Modoc down to this duplicate because I have one above there, so he was at the bottom, and I didn't want to re-rank him on accident. All right, Cheshire Cat. So Cheshire, I think, is related to Sportsmaster, if I'm not mistaken, or they're married or something. I can't remember. But she's also the sister, I believe, of Artemis, who's like the Green Arrow on the show. Pretty cool character. I like Cheshire. I think she is barely not awesome. Has a little bit more depth to her than some of these. I'd have her maybe above Slash right here. That seems about right. Okay. We got some Ducktales. Woohoo. Flint Heart. Flint Heart Gold Gloom, I think. Flint Heart's pretty cool. I like him. He's probably in my awesome category, honestly. Reminds me a little bit of some of these guys down here, but he's more of a classic villain for me in the DuckTales world, and kind of the foil to Scrooge, but the same as Scrooge. So has a bit of a moral compass. Scrooge does. This one does not, and so he's Scottish and he tries to steal stuff. But I'd have him maybe around Mr. Spacely here. Oh, and I just noticed. So I placed one to test to make sure the pictures worked offhand, and that is the Beagle Boys. This was the DuckTales kind of group of villains. I didn't split them up. I don't even know what their names are. But the Beagle Boys are a pretty famous group of villains on that show. So I've got them in the barely not awesome category. They're the ones that usually come to mind when I think of that show. But I like Flint Hart's character a little bit more than the Beagle Boys. Okay. We have Magica Dispel, I think. So Magica is cool too. And I've got her probably up by some of these folks, maybe not quite as high. Another classic character I remember from DuckTales. She's one that I recognized I was missing because I was like, I remember her hair and her eyeshadow and everything. Let's have her ahead of a few of these folks, maybe above Hit here. Okay. Then we've got some very important ones that were missed. And this is what I realized after the last one. I was like, oh, I definitely missed a couple of these, and they were the first pictures I saved, and so I didn't save them well. Shredder. Shredder is either Supreme or a goat, and I think he's a goat. Um, so I always like Shredder. He's classic Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Gets frustrated with his, he has a superior as well as people that report to him, and he gets frustrated with all of them. And almost wins a lot of the time. But he also has a really good dynamic with the Turtles, with Splinter and the relationship there. So pretty cool. We'll see if we need to re-rank him a little bit, but I'm going to put him there in the GOAT to start. Okay, then we have Krang. So Krang is the rare brain in the body, not the brain on the head with the bowl over it. And Krang, I will say, is in the supreme category. Now, I'd probably have him below Starscream for me and above Mr. Sinister. I like Shredder a little bit more, but you could argue me into Krang as well. I loved his voice. He'd always have that like high pitch kind of voice, and he'd yell at people and get really frustrated. Cool design, fun character. Like he's one of my favorites too. All right, and then that leaves us with the Penguin and Spellbinder. So Spellbinder was in Batman Beyond, and he is a little like, if I can find him, Shriek to me. If I could find Shriek. So Shriek would probably be around here. Well, actually, that's a better comp. So Ink. Ink is in Batman Beyond, and I like Spellbinder a little bit better than Ink. And that's probably about where I would have him. Cool villain, cool costume, causes like hypnosis and people falling into different mindsets, I think, when they're asleep and stuff. So it's pretty cool. I think there's many of them actually in the comics, but he's one of them. Okay, then we got the Penguin. Penguin from Batman. Penguin is kind of a dumb character if you think about it, but he's cool on the show. I'd probably have him in the awesome category. Kind of toward the top. I like him a little bit more than Harley, actually, so I'm going to have him below Catwoman. So that gets us there. And then Shredder. Do I like Shredder more than Magneto, more than Aku? So Aku I know is a tricky one because some people probably didn't either see Samurai Jack or watch it. And even some who did might not like love him as a character. I think he's great, obviously. But if you watch the whole show, I think you'd more or less understand. He is a pretty cool, unique villain. Shredder, I don't think I would have above some of these others, but if I watched Turtles again, I might. So I think that's the order, but we might be missing one yet. We might be missing one. And I think we might be. And there he is. The Joker. So the Joker was maybe the first picture I saved and failed. And the Joker, to me, is the greatest of all time. All time. Now I'm a Transformers fan, so I love Megatron probably more than some other people. Skeletor's great, Cobra Commander, they're all great in getting their plots foiled and like running away and all that stuff. Megatron does the same thing. The Joker is just vicious and great, and this is Mark Hamill doing the best Joker of all time. Great dynamic with not only Bruce Wayne, but with Harley Quinn, with the other villains. Just an absolutely awesome character throughout the show. And he's good in other shows too. Like, for the most part, and I know he has many variations, he is, crazier sometimes, goofier sometimes, but he's always a fun character. And this version with Mark Hamill is the greatest of all time. So that wraps up the cartoon tier list. Hopefully like I said, hit everybody. If I missed one or two, apologies, and I could always try to go back and add them in. All right, thank you.